Guys, this is Manoj here. Am I audible? Is my screen visible? Okay, we'll wait for 2 more minutes, guys, then we'll get started. Lakshmi, did you attend any of my previous classes? Any of previous sessions? Lakshmi Devi. Okay, good, Lakshmi. Hey guys, so guys, we'll wait for 2 more minutes, then we'll get started. Okay. Okay, guys, let's get started. Let me introduce myself first. This is Manoj here. I'm having around 20 years of industry experience, carrying good knowledge in DevOps, cloud, and multiple other technologies. And I'm a freelancer, and I'll be taking this webinar on behalf of Edureka. Okay, so same way, guys, you have to give your introduction, your name, comma, number of years of experience, comma, your skill set, comma, your location. Please type these 4 things in the chat window, guys. Guys, your name, comma, number of years of experience, comma, your skill set, comma, your location. Please type these 4 things in the chat window. So Lakshmi Devi, 2 years Hadoop, Shanti Reddy, Raghu, 15 years test management, Piyush, junior DevOps, junior developer Java, Devraj Singh, 3 years CSC student, Faridabad. How about others? Neerav Panchal, 9 years in QA, Siddharth Fresher, Vishal, 13 years from Delhi, Snoopy, Big Data, Chetra, 5 years, Talat Muskan Fatima, 4th year of engineering, Bablu SRP from Bangalore. How about others? Vamshi, final year BTech. Okay, guys, so I got good information about the batch. So we have mix and match is there, 0 to 15, 20 years of experience. People are there in this group. So let's get started, guys. So today's topic is the version control system. I mean, the Git. Okay, so top 20 commands of the Git. And guys, the motive of this webinar is to promote one of our DevOps course. So at the end of the session, I will let you know for which course we are doing the marketing or the promotion. Okay. Okay, so let's get started, guys. So guys, how many people doesn't know what is the version control system? Anyone is there in the group who doesn't know what is a version control system? Or everyone knows about version control system, guys? Anyone in the group who doesn't know what is version control system? Okay, so I'll give you guys quickly introduction of what is version control system in the interest of everyone. So guys, I'll ask you one question, one simple question. Let's say I'm working in a file on 4th of September. 4th of September, I'm working on a file. Okay, I've written some contents, and 5th of September, I change this file. Okay, and then 6th of September, I change this file again. Okay, now 7th of September, I change this file again. Now guys, if I want to get the content of the 4th September, how I'll get it? Can anyone tell me? How will I get the content of 2-3 days prior? My laptop volume is 1 minute, guys. Yeah. No, guys, we don't have any version control system available. Without version control system, how we can do it? Assume that, guys, I don't have version control system. Then what is the way? Right. So only the way is okay. We can keep track of each version, right? We can keep track of each version. At the moment, we have only 4 files are there. Assume that if 1,000 files are there, okay, and each file has 3344 versions are there, how we'll do it? Okay, so only the way is I should create a system wherein I should able to keep track of each and every version of the file. For example, let's say if I have 4 versions are there, v1, v2, v3, v4. Okay, so whenever I make any change in the file, I should keep track of their version with the help of a system. Okay, and I should update this version somewhere, so my system able to track these changes somewhere, and the system which should able to track these changes, that we are calling it as a version control system. Okay, so in very simple word, you can see one thread is there of one file, but it has multiple lags are there. Each lag actually maintains a version of the file. So this system, which has a mechanism of doing all these things, we are calling it as a version control system. Okay, we are calling it as a version control system. Okay, so guys, when version control system were not there in the market, people used to do a lot of manual effort, like keeping the files as a different place. But gradually, when the IT became more advanced and I evolved, okay, that time people started thinking about this version control system, maturity of the version control system. So guys, version control system is, I feel, more than 25 years old concept in the market, even more than that. But the maturity of the version control system started coming from early 2000. Okay, early 2000. Okay, and if I'm not wrong, um, the most famous version control systems what we saw as a first version was in early 2000. That was CVS. Okay, that was CVS. Okay, then SVN came in picture. Okay, parallelly same time Perforce came in picture. Okay, and then we will have gradually TFS came in picture. Okay, and many small version control systems came in picture, and nowadays we are talking about more Git and GitHub. Okay, we are talking about Git, GitHub. A lot of version control systems have come in market. Bitbucket, or maybe GitLab, or maybe Azure repo, AWS repo, or AWS code commit. Multiple version control systems have come into the market. Now, what is the intelligence here at the moment for us is we should know which version control system we have to use it and what purpose it must be solving for ours. Okay, so now we have to understand how many type of version control systems are there. Okay, okay, what are the different type of version control systems are there in the market? So guys, in the market we have two type of version control systems are there in the market. One version control system is called centralized version control system, CVCS we call it as a. Another one is DVCS. Okay, now I'll tell you what is the DVCS, what is the CVCS. Okay, so what is the CVCS version control system is, guys, in this version control system you will have one master will be there. Okay, a version control system will be there, and you will have one local copy will be there. So this local copy is nothing but your laptop, desktop, or whatever device you will be using for your code. Okay, so whenever you want anything from your version control system, you have to check out the code. You have to check out the code, and if you want anything to be updated into your version control system, you need to check in the code. So check out and check in is nothing but uploading and downloading the code. Okay, so checkout means downloading and uploading is nothing but the check-in. Okay, so this guy version control system is the guy wherein you are uploading and downloading your code. Okay, fine. So now guys, let's assume guys, nowadays because of this pandemic situation or many other reasons are there, if this guy is not available, this version control system is not available, do you think that we will able to check in or check out our code in a version control system? For example, this guy is sitting in your company premises, okay, and at the moment we all are working from home, okay, and because of any reason your internet is not getting connected, your VPN is not getting connected, will you able to connect to this guy, this version control system? What do you think, guys? Okay. For example, if someone is traveling in India, North India to South India, if you go, you have around 40 to 50 hours journey is there. During the train, network is not good, so we cannot even code. Okay, we're not able to code. So this is a single point of failure is there, guys. So gradually industry thinking about more options to look forward, better version control systems. Okay, so then DVCS came in picture. So what DVCS says is, okay, DVCS allow you to have your local copy as a, okay, your local copy as a local repo. Okay, it allows you to treat your local copy as a local repo. How it happens is, okay, you code your work, or you start coding in your local copy. Okay, local copy. Once you will be confident about your work, okay, you can go and check in your code into your local repo. Okay, there is no dependency, this is your local guy only. Once you are very much confident that you have completed your work, and once you are in your company network, or once you are in the internet connectivity, you can push this code to remote repo. You can push your code to the remote repo. So local copy to your local repo, then local repo to your remote repo. Here what we are doing is we are allowing development to happen on a distributed ways. I mean, everyone is working. For example, this is one local repo, I have another local repo is there, local repo 2 is there, wherein another developer is working, so everyone can work in their own versions. Okay, okay, once they are confident about their work, they can go and check in their code or commit or push their code into the remote repo. Okay, so actually we are allowing them to distribute their work among multiple developers, so that we will not have dependency to this remote repo. Whenever you have your work completion is there, whenever you are on the good internet connectivity is there, you can go and check in your or push your code into the remote repo. So this concept of having local repo and the remote repo, or having local copy to be treated as a local repo, we are calling it as a distributed version control system. Okay, distributed version control system. Can anyone tell me any of the distributed version control system which you know, guys? Any distributed version control system, guys? Git is there, Mercurial is there, right, guys? Git is there, Mercurial is are there. Okay, these are the flavors of, distributed version control system. Okay, now guys, can anyone tell me some of the centralized version control systems? SVN, TFS, CVCS, Perforce. So other than the guys Git and Mercurial, everything is centralized version control system. TFS, CVS, SVN, Perforce, clear case. Okay, everything is centralized version control system. Apart from your uh, Git and Mercurial, everything is centralized version control system. Okay, now guys, in this distributed version control systems, we have local repos are there and we have remote repos are there. So local repos are Git and Mercurial. Okay, now guys, what happens is, good, we are developing our code in local repo. Now I want to share my code to someone. For example, I want to share to code to you, so I have to go to the internet. For that, we will have remote repos there. Okay, so what are the remote repos are available in the market? There are multiple remote repos are available in the market. Like GitHub is one of the repo. GitLab is there, Bitbucket is there. Okay, Azure repo is there, AWS code commit is there. Okay, to my knowledge, these are the remote repositories are there. Okay, which are highly used in the market. Okay, so mostly people uses GitHub. Okay, because GitHub is owned by nowadays Microsoft, so they're actually killing TFS and they are more promoting TFS nowadays. Sorry, GitHub nowadays. Okay, GitLab is from GitLab company, Bitbucket is from Atlassian, Azure repo is from Azure Cloud. Okay, AWS code commit is from AWS Cloud. Okay, so it all depends upon what trade-off you are in, where you are getting better prices. To me, all the remote repositories has the same feature, more or less. Okay, yeah, tell me Raghvendra. Sami Git, I never heard, Raghvendra, to be frank. Okay, and even this is the new information for me. Sami Git, I will explore and probably I can revert back to you. I can give you my email ID. I never worked on Sami version control system. Okay, I will check. Okay, what you can do is you can mail. You can send me a mail on my email ID. Okay, I will check and revert back to you. I really never used. I mean, I used most of the version control systems in the market. I will do some research and get back to you. I don't want to tell you something which I'm not aware of. Okay, to be frank. Fine, guys. So guys, in industry we have one more term is there, two tree architecture and three tree architecture. Okay, so this is a two tree architecture. You have a local copies there and you have a version control system. We are calling it as a two tree architecture. They're calling it as a two tree architecture. Okay, here you can see we have three steps are there: local copy to local repo, then remote repo. So we are calling it as a three tree architecture. Okay, this concept is called as three tree architecture. But guys, one more thing is there in the distributed version control system. We don't directly copy or move our code to the local repo. In between we have a different logical separation is there called staging. Okay, we have a logical separation is there, staging will be used for multiple purposes. For example, if you develop your code and your mind has changed or you got your different requirement, so where you should keep this code. If you keep it somewhere, then you can't track the changes. Okay, if you keep directly to the commit area, then you can't discard it. Okay, so instead of discarding permanently, you can discard them temporarily. You can move in staging area, and then from staging area you can move to stash area. Okay, so this is additional functionality which is given by distributed version control system. So at the moment I'm just saying stashing. I will cover this topic in detail. Okay, but yeah, before we move to the local repo, we have to move our code to the staging area, and from the staging area we have to move to the local repository. Okay, what is working copy? Working copy is your local repo only. Okay, so how the flow is: local copy it goes to the staging, and staging it goes to the local repo, and from local repo it goes to the remote repo. This is the workflow is there of Git and GitHub or any distributed version control system. Now what I'll do is I will show you this mechanism, how we can go from here to here and here. Okay, so let me go to a machine. Okay, and guys, how you can create a local repository. So guys, there are two ways are there. Okay, if you are working on the Windows, you can download a client called Git Bash. Okay, so I'm working on the Linux machine, Ubuntu machine. So here in the Ubuntu machine nowadays ships with the Git client. So if I'll type your git version, okay, you will see that it's already installed. I didn't install anything, but if you want to install, the command is apt-get install git. This is the command is there to install, but nowadays from Ubuntu 18.04 onwards, git is kind of by default installed in all the Linux machines. Okay, so git has its own client is there, so be mindful that whenever you are working, you have to download a client. Now let me make a directory practice, and what is today's date? 8th of September. My bad, command is wrong. CD practice, sorry. Okay, now guys, before you start the work, you have to initialize the repository with the command got init. Okay, git init. So init is a command is there which will initialize your local repository. And how you can identify whether it's initialized or not, after you initialize this, it will start recognizing the git commands. Okay, so if I just do it, you will see that it has created a folder called .git. Okay, so guys, if I'll do ls, you will not see any folder. If I do ls-lart, so guys, a means it's showing hidden files. Okay, so it's showing .git folder also. If you go to .git folder, then you will see lot of references. Okay, so guys, to start with any of the local repository, you have to initialize the git init command, which will initialize a local repository for you. Now I'll show you the scenario. Okay, like how we can create a file in local copy, how we can move to a staging area, then how can we can move to the local repository. Okay, I'll show you the scenario. So let me create a file called a.txt. So guys, touch is the command is there by which you can create a file. Okay, it's being created. You can do ls, it's created. Then git dot add dot will be adding this file into your staging area. Okay, if I just add it, and if I'll do git status, you will see this is being added. It's saying changes to be committed. Okay, means they are putting into the staging area. Now we have to commit them. So what I'll do is I will commit it with git commit -a -m added to my local repo. Okay, so guys, what it's doing is it's asking for, you know, my name and address, because first time I'm going to commit anything. So there is some command is there, git config -- global. Okay, so some configuration commands are there. So what I can do is I can check in Google what are the configuration commands are there. Git config username and emails, so that I can add my credentials. The command is this: git config -- global username and password. My username is Manoj, and then I'll check my password or email ID. Sorry, email ID. It could be any email ID, guys. manoj@gmail.com. Okay. Now, if I'll do ls, I have a.txtzl. If I'll do git status, okay, it says nothing to commit, because by default my file has been added with the root email ID, guys. Okay. So let me add another file. Touch b.txt git add dot git commit -m added b.txt. Okay, this is being added. Now if I'll do git status, you'll see nothing to commit. But if I will do git log, guys, I can check the file is being added by whom. Like first file was added by root user and second was added by Manoj user. So you can see here. Okay, So the second file is being added by the Manoj user. First file was added by the root user. Okay, now guys, if I want, I can check these all the comments in a short like string. So this commit id is nothing but this is a representation of your commit in the git. Okay, so this commit id is nothing but alphanumeric representation of your git. Okay, or this is a reference is there, author is Manoj, date is this. So guys, whenever you work for any commit, the two things are important for you. A commit id is important for you, and the comment is important for you. So if you want to see, you can type this command git log pretty equals to one line. Okay, so you can see here it's showing me what was the commit id and what was the comment which was being passed. Okay, okay, so guys, clear? Bunty is asking what are hook files. So Bunty, if you want to configure something like the moment my commit will happen, I should invoke a script. For that, hooks are there. So that is little advanced topic. Someone is asking one doubt, if config in our name produces git command, then what may be the problem in our name? I think I have answered this question. So clear guys so far? Any questions? Guys, clear? Any questions? Someone is asking, are hook files created by default? See, hooks folder is there. You can place your script inside that. For example, Bunty, if I go to .git folder, okay, you will have hooks folder is there. If I'll go to hooks folder, okay, there are some predefined scripts are there. Okay, you can pass whatever your logic is there in this script. Okay, I mean, if you want to do so much customizations, then these hooks are important. Otherwise, you need not to touch these hooks. What is stash? Stash I will cover. Stash you leave it, guys. Oh, someone is asking about stash. Stash is leave it. I will see what is the stash. Okay, I will show you. So guys, the command, if you want to see only the specific information about your commit, you can see this command git log hyphen pretty equals to one line. Okay, this will tell you only specific information about your commit id and your comments. That's it. Clear guys this, or any other question? Clear this? Clear? Any questions here? Clear? Okay, so guys, next topic is branching and merging strategy. Okay, how we can manage multiple branches to make multiple developers work together. Okay, so let me explain you that part. Okay, so guys, at the moment I have only one branch is there which I'm working, that is a master branch. If I want, I can create one more branch. To create a branch, the command is git branch, could be any name, feature branch. Okay, and if I want to enter into the branch, guys, for example, if I type here git branch, you can see one more branch has been created, master and a feature branch. Now if I want to enter into this branch, then I can use the command git checkout. Checkout command will allow me to switch from one branch to another branch. My other branch is feature branch. Okay, so feature branch is my other branch which I have entered into. Okay, now guys, from here, okay, let's say if I want to add a file, so again touch c.txt, git add dot, git commit -m added c.txt. Okay, so one of my commit has been added to my feature branch. Now I will go to my master branch. Okay, and then if I do git branch, you can see here I'm into my master branch. Now guys, I want to merge feature branch cmd to create command to create branch. Once again, git branch name Bunty. Okay, git branch name. Okay, this is the command to create a new feature branch. Now guys, I have two branches are there. One is a feature branch, one is a master branch. Now if I want to merge my feature branch into the master branch, then I have a command is there, git merge and my feature branch. Okay, so at the moment guys, I have no reason to have a conflict. Okay, I don't have any reason to conflict. So if I'll type this command git merge, you will see a fast forward merge has happened and c.txt has been added to my master branch. Okay, now we will see a scenario wherein conflict will come. So let me do one thing. I have a branches, two branches are there, master and feature branch. So let me delete this branch, git branch -d. So guys, to delete the branch, you have to pass this flag -d and the branch name. So this is being deleted. Now if you will type here git branch, you will have master branch is there. Let me make some changes in this master branch. Okay, I will add here my uh, master branch. In one of the file I'm adding this. Okay, this is being added. Now guys, tell me one thing. Can I move directly to my local repo without moving my file into the staging area? Can I eliminate this guy? Is it possible to eliminate this guy? Guys, how I can eliminate this guy, staging area? What is the ways there, guys? Can I directly commit my file into the commit area? Okay, so guys, always remember we can add a file directly to the commit area, which are existing file. I cannot add a new file into the staging area. I can add a existing file into the staging area. So a.txt file I modified, I added some comments into it. So it's my existing file. So what I can do is existing files I can directly add into the commit area. So the command is git commit. Okay, -a. So -a is a flag which will enable this direct commit. Okay, m direct commit. You can see a file has got a new commit, direct commit. If I'll type here git log -pretty equals to one line, you will see that a new commit has come, direct commit, which has added these comments into my master branch. Okay, now I'll do one thing, guys. I'll create a feature branch here. Okay, okay, let me switch to FB branch. Now let me go and modify this a.txt file. Now instead of master, let me put FB branch. Sorry. Okay. Now directly let me commit this guy. Direct commit. At the moment I'm in my FB branch. Let me switch to my master branch. Okay. Now guys, I will merge feature branch to my master branch. Do you think conflict will come because I made the changes at the same place in the same file in the same line? Guys, I made the changes in the same place in the same file. Ideally commit should come, right? When I'm merging other uh, branch into the master branch, ideally commit should come, because how system will get to know? Okay, it has to accept which commit. It has to accept the master branch commit or the feature branch commit. right guys? Ideally the commit should give me a conflict. Let's see. Okay, so there is no conflict guys. If I just do a cat a.txt, so you will see that my FB branch contents has been merged to the master branch. So guys, what happens is, if a child branch is there, okay, if it knows what is the current state of my master, there wouldn't be any conflict. Okay, now assume a scenario when two developers are working. Okay, both has cloned the master branch to their feature branches. If feature branch 1 will be merged to the master branch, then feature branch 2 might not be knowing the state of their master branch, and that is the place wherein conflict will come. Okay, so let me do one thing guys. Let me open one of the slides, and then with that I will explain you what I'm trying to say. You can see here guys, I have a master branch is there, I have two feature branches are there. Okay, so what I've done is I made the changes feature branch 1 and feature branch 2. Okay, now I have merged feature branch 1 into the master branch. Okay, now guys, feature branch 2 doesn't know this change. Let me repeat it. Feature branch 2 doesn't know this change. Now if you make some changes from feature branch to the master branch, then master branch and feature branch will have a conflict. The reason is feature branch 2 doesn't know the state of their master. So always remember guys, conflict will come when the branch which is going to merge into the master doesn't know the state of the parent branch or parent master branch. Okay, so let me simulate this scenario here. Okay, so let me delete this branch, git branch -d fb branch. Okay, this is being deleted. Now I will go and create, or before I'll create a new branch, I will make some changes in my master branch. Let me record it here to be a part of master branch. Let me add it directly. Okay, this is being added. Okay, now if I'll do a cat here in the master branch, okay, this is my master branch. Now we'll create two branches, git branch fb1, git branch fb2. So guys, with my diagram I've created feature branch 1 and feature branch 2. Now I will go to feature branch 1 and feature branch 2 one by one. I will make some changes in the branches, and then one by one I will merge them into the master, and then we'll see whether conflict comes or not. So let me go to git checkout master branch, sorry, git checkout fb1 branch. Okay, and vi.a.txt file. Okay, let me add here, we are into the fb1 branch. Let me add this directly. Okay, now let me go to feature branch 2. Okay, here let me add, I am from feature branch 2. Okay, now guys, I am in this situation at the moment. I have a master branch, I have two feature branches are there, both has got some changes. Now I will try this situation. I'm into my master branch. Now I will merge master branch, feature branch into my master branch. Now what do you think guys, conflict will come or not? Guys, will the conflict will come here or not? Anyone is saying conflict will come? Let's see, guys. Okay, no conflict, guys. If I'll do a cat a.txt, it has updated with fb1 branch content. But guys, does fb2 knows this information that his master branch content has been changed? Guys, does fb2 knows about this information? No. Okay, fine. What we will do is now we will merge with fb2 branch. Guys, what do you think? Conflict will come now or not? Okay, let's see, guys. So conflict is there, guys. Conflict is there because fb2 doesn't know the state of its master, right? Now let me go and change it. Okay, so I'm remove some of the unwanted keywords, add it, added it, direct commit, and you will see here if I'll do cat a.txt file, you'll see here my fb1 and fb2 branches are there. Okay, so like that, guys, you can resolve the conflicts. So why so then you change the content in fb1 fb2 a.txt is different. See, I made the changes so that I can add a different commits in a.txt of fb1 and a.txt of fb2. Okay, that is the reason. So clear, guys, this branching, merging and conflicts are clear. If I try to merge fb1 again, what will happen? Okay, good question. So guys, I think conflict should come. Git merge fb1. Okay, fb1 contents are already being merged. Okay, already that commit was added. Clear? Clear, guys? Any questions? Okay, can we merge fb1 to fb2? Yeah, you can merge it, you can try it out. Okay, you can try it out. Okay, guys, I'm taking a quick break of 10 minutes here. After the break, we will touch upon other points. Okay, so I'm taking a break here of 10 minutes. Guys, I'm back now. Am I audible? Guys, am I audible? Okay, good guys. So let's do a recap of what we have discussed so far. Okay, so we have discussed about version control systems. We can develop about various type of version control types, Git flows. We have talked about branching and merging or parallel development. Okay, so let's go the slides one by one. So we have seen this scenario like how we will get kind of tracking of each and every our previous version of the files. Okay, so how we can share the files, how we can save the files, how we can you know uh, remove the faulty updates XYZ. So that can be achieved using a version control system. We have discussed there are two type of version control systems are there. One is a centralized version control system, one is a distributed version control system. In centralized version control system we have two tree architecture is there. Okay, working copy is there and repository is there. In another, working copy or local copy, both are same. Someone asked this question also, if I'm not wrong, Bunty has asked. So Bunty, you can see here local copy and working copy both are same. And then we have distributed version control system is there. From working copy you have to move to the local repository, from there you have to move it to the remote repository. Okay, so at the moment I've just explained you till local repository. I need to, or I'm yet to explain about the remote repository concept, pull and push concepts. Okay, and then the uses of Git is too high. You can see this blue one is the Git, you can see here. Okay, so blue, this one is the highest utilization in the world. Okay, Apache is the second, which is a subversion. Then we have CVS is there, TFS is there, Mercurial is there. Okay, so mostly Git is the number one. But if you want to see again, please go through the recordings. You will get recordings tomorrow. Okay, we cannot repeat same topic again and again. Okay, why Git wins over other tools? Okay, so it's an economical. Okay, it's a non-linear. Okay, supports non-linear development of software, as in all type of compatibilities are there, snapshots are there. Okay, we are changing, making the changes in the file rather than the file itself. Okay, it's a distributed one. Okay, you can see high speed we have. Robust, I mean, there is no kind of leakage of the memory is there, and there is no fault tolerance is there. Integrity, I mean, at the moment I haven't tell you, but it can be integrated with any of the third party tool also. And it has a good branching and merging strategies are there. Few strategies I have explained. So guys, I have explained you only two tree architecture about with two-way merge or three-way merge. There are some other type of merging techniques are also there, like rebasing is there, squashing is there, multiple other techniques are there. So once you join our course, we'll discuss each and every technique in detail. Okay, and we have discussed about this Git is a local repository. Okay, and everyone is working on their local repositories. Once they are confident, they can commit their code to the remote repositories. This diagram I had shown you. Workflow of the Git, multiple developers are working, they can commit their changes into the local repository, and then it goes to the remote repositories. Okay, this is the flow is there. Okay, this is the working directory, it goes to the staging area, and then it goes to the local repository. I need to explain you how it go to the remote repository. Okay, now guys, quickly I will tell you some of the concept called stashing concept. Okay, and how we will connect from local to remote or remote to local. Okay, so let's first talk about the remote repository. So guys, with our example, okay, we have seen till here local repo we have commit something, and from local it goes to the remote repo, and from remote repo you can bring some commit to the local repo also. Okay, so local repo, I will take the example of GitHub only. Okay, so guys, here if I'll start a project with today's name, okay, I will start something like 8th of September webinar. Okay, so this repo has been completed. I will create this repository. Okay, then how I can connect this with my local repository? This URL is being mentioned. I will go to my local repository and paste this URL. So guys, read this URL carefully. Git remote add origin. So we are adding this URL into origin keyword. I can add something else also. I can give Manoj as a name also. Okay, this is being added. Now in this Manoj keyword, my remote repository URL has been mentioned. Okay, now the next command is how I can push my origin to the master. So guys, will this command work or it will be failed? Guys, will this command work or it will be failed? Why it will be failed, guys? What should I do it to pass it? Yeah, origin. See, guys, we haven't added origin. We have added Manoj. Okay, so instead of origin, it should be Manoj here. Okay, now since I'm pushing something to my remote repository, I should pass the credentials because I'm doing a write operation on someone's repository. So Manoj 3004 and password is my password. I passed here. Oh, sorry, what's failed? Yeah, so it's pushing my content to my remote repository. If I'll go and refresh here, you'll see that my contents has come here, a.txt, b.txt, and c.txt has come over here. Okay. Now, guys, you can see here at the moment I have only one branch is there, that is a master. If I want to push the content of my other branches, I can do the same here. Instead of pushing the master branch content here, I can push it to my FB1 branch content. Same, it's asking for my credentials. Okay, now if I'll refresh it here, guys, you will see FB1 branch should be coming here. If I'll just drop down, FB1 will be coming here. Okay, now if I will do FB2 push, you will see FB2 content must be coming here. If I'll refresh it, you will see FB2 contents will be coming here. FB2 is coming here. Okay, so with the push command, guys, I can push any contents to my remote repository. But if I want to pull a content from remote repository to the local, I can use pull command. For example, if I'm adding a file here, my file name is d.txt. Let me add this file here. Let me commit this file. So this file is being added to my master branch, remote master branch. So if I want this content in my local, I can add here git pull. So git pull will pull the content from remote branch to the local. You can see d.txt has been added here. Okay, so guys, by push, okay, so if I'll go to this slide, by push, I push the content to the remote repository. By pull, I'm pulling the content from remote to the local. Okay, but guys, there is one more concept here is there. Okay, pull and fetch. So what happens is when you push from remote to local, or sorry, you can once you pull from remote to local, 1 minute, this is my local repo. This is my remote repo. Okay, so when you are pulling something, okay, so pull is nothing but this is a combination of two commands. Okay, by pull you can pull the contents, but it's a combination of actually two commands. What are these commands are fetch plus merge command. Fetch and then merge command. It's actually combination of these two commands, fetch plus merge command. It's a combination of two commands. Okay, you can do it through in one command also, or if you want to do it, you can do it in two commands also. Now the question comes, for the same purpose, why have two commands are there? I mean, it could be historical reason, guys. Earlier, maybe pull command was not there. People were using fetch and merge command. Okay, but now this is being kept for historical purposes. Now, if I'll add a new file here, e.txt file, commit new file here. Okay, e.txt has been added. Now I'll come here. Okay, now I'll do git fetch. So you will see that contents will not be fetched, but references will be added to a local. You can see here some references has been added. If you type here git status, it will say that your commits are behind by one. Okay, it will say your branch is behind by one commit. Okay, your branch is being behind by one commits. If I will do git merge, I mean, let's say if I'll do ls at the moment, this file is not there, e.txt is not there. Okay, in our local, okay, let me do git status again. So my branch is behind by one commit. If I'll do git merge, you'll see this reference will be adding the file into my local repository. E.txt is being added. If I'll do git status, it will tell that nothing is there, your branch is up to date. Okay, so if I'll go to my diagram, you can do it pulling with the one command pull, or you can do it through two commands, fetch and merge. Okay, clear, guys? So -u will be the flag which will allow you to push your contents to the remote. Someone is asking, is there any way to find the parent branch from which the branch was created? See, what you can do is there is a tool is there called source tree. Okay, in source tree you can see very clearly from which branch that particular branch has been created. That is a GUI for local Git, so it can be easily visible over there. You can make out. Okay, clear, guys, this part? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, now we'll move to the next topic, which is a parallel development. So guys, one part of parallel development I explained to you, okay, which is branching and merging. I explained what is the way to find a parent branch. Okay, so parallel development we have seen, guys, we have branching and merging is there, master with new branches, how we can merge the branches. We have done all these things. Now let's move to another topic called stashing. Okay, so what is a stashing, guys? So suppose, guys, I am doing something in my local repo. Local copy or working copy. I'm doing something on local copy. Okay, and I move my contents to staging area. Okay, before I move my content to the local repo, okay, once I move my content to the staging area, I realize that, hey, whatever files I moved here, I should not be moving into the commit area. Let me keep it aside somewhere. So what I can do is I can move them in the stash area. Okay, once I'm confident, okay, for example, afterwards I got a second commit, second file in the staging area, I can move that into the commit area. Then I can bring back this guy over here. I can bring back this guy into the staging area. Okay, so this is just a way is there to keep your files aside when they are not required to be used. For example, let's say at the moment nothing is there. Let me add a file here, touch stash one. Okay, git add dot. Fine. Now, guys, I don't want to move this file into the commit area. I don't want to move this guy here. I want to move this guy into the stashing area. So what I can do is I can use the command git stash. Okay, so what this will be doing is it will be moving my this file stash one into stash area. Okay, if I'll do here git status, you'll see that nothing is there, everything is cleaned up. Okay, if I'll see git stash list, you'll see this file is being listed here into the stashing area. Okay, now let me add one more file, touch stash 2.txt, git add dot. I moved into the staging area. Now let me move to my commit area, added to commit area. Okay, now guys, my stash 2 is being moved to the commit area. Now if I want to bring back this guy, stash 1 file, I can bring it back. I can type the command git stash apply. Okay, so you can see here stash 1 file has come. Okay, in my staging area, if I'll type here git status, you will see this file has come here. Now this file has come in my staging area. I can move this file into my remote or my commit area, git commit -m moved stash 1. This is being moved. Now I have nothing is there in my stashing area. Now if I'll do git status, nothing is there in my staging area also. Okay, so stash is being used to keep your files aside, okay, until you want to use them. Once they are required to be used, you can move them again into the staging area, and then you can move in the commit area or the local repository. Okay, you can do it for multiple files also altogether. For example, let's say I'll add here stash 3.txt, git add dot, okay, git stash, you moved it. Now you create one more file, git add dot, git stash, you can add one more file, git add dot, git stash. Now guys, how many files we have into my stashing area? How many files I moved into the stashing area, guys? 3 files, right? If I'll do git stash list, you can see here 4 files are there, in fact, into my stashing area, right? I can bring them back, guys, one by one. Okay, if you want to see what is there in the each file, you can see it, git stash show -p. You can see what is there, what is the index, what is the name, everything is mentioned. If you want to bring any file, you can bring it back with this command. Sorry, if you want to bring any particular file, you can bring it with the particular name of that stash. It's brought back. Now you can apply one, it's brought back. Okay, and then you can commit into the staging area, commit -m, added in commit area. Okay, now if I'll do git stash list, okay, I have few more files are there. Let me move them one by one. Okay, like that, guys, you can move one by one into your staging areas. So someone is asking why it's showing stash 1 only, not only stash 2 and stash 3, because whatever file are being stashed, that are being stashed on top of staging stash 1 file. So it will always say the base file on top of which the other files are stashed. Okay, so once you practice once, okay, you will get to know more things about this. Okay, clear guys? Any question in the stashing part? Clear? Or stashing is a hard topic for you guys? Clear? So guys, if this Git is public, how to make private? You can make it while creating the repository. Okay, so guys, you can see here the same thing, you know, in working directory you can stash the changes. Okay, and then finally you can commit them. Okay, so guys, all the 20 commands we have most or less discussed. All the commands: remote, origin, fetch, pull, push, show, init, diff, log, commit, status, add, apt-get install, config. Okay, few commands are left out that you can practice by your own. Okay, so guys, how was the session? And some branching commands: branch, checkout, branch -d, merge, d, stashing, stash pops, drop, stash clear, stash apply, list. So got stash apply will bring the file to the staging area, right, Bunty? Yeah, right. Okay, so guys, I'll tell you for which course we are doing this marketing. So guys, we are doing this marketing for this particular course. Okay, this course name is DevOps Certification Training Program, wherein we have 12 topics are there: introduction to DevOps, Git, Maven, Jenkins, integration with Jenkins, Selenium, Docker, Kubernetes. Okay, um, and apart from that, Ansible, Puppet, Selenium, Kubernetes, Nagios. Okay, and duration of this course is around 36 hours, and the prices you can see it here. Okay, prices at the moment, some discounts are going on, so you can talk to the backend teams and avail for the prices. Okay, so guys, how was the session? Was it interesting? Was full useful for you? Stashing part is little hard, Paresh. Okay, once you practice more, you'll get to know more. Okay guys, stashing part is little hard, so I mean, once you join our course, we'll discuss some more. I give 45 minutes just on stashing part. Okay, it's a new, yes, right. So guys, if you join my couple of sessions, more sessions, okay, you will enjoy more. Okay, and tomorrow also I have one more session planned, that is AWS S3. Okay, so hope to see you over there, guys. Okay, and thanks for joining the class, guys. Bye for now. Enjoy your day and hope you find this session useful. Okay, if you are convinced, please try to join our course. We'll discuss more about all these things. Okay, recordings will be sent to you by tomorrow, guys. Everyone who has joined this session will be getting the recording for sure, guys. Thank you, guys. Bye for now.